Now the very popular Nick Swisher joins us. I said to Benita Zahn, our news anchor, last night, Nick Swisher is coming on the program today. She said, man, love Nick Swisher because he just gets it. Like, he gets it. She's right. He does get it. Fox Sports analyst, special assistant to Brian Cashman of the Yankees, recently in our area visited the Center for Disability Services in Albany. And, Nick, you brought a smile to so many on that day, and we welcome you to Big Board Sports on 104.5, the team, ESPN Radio in Albany. Good morning, Nick.
Oh, what an intro, fellas. Thank you so much. Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good, man.
What's up,
We're good.
Man.
I think Yankee fans are good right now because they were a little concerned that maybe Cashman would really try to get Machado and give up, say, a Sheffield, a Frazier at the end of the day. That didn't happen. Machado going to the Dodgers, and we'll see what the Yankees do here with a pitcher at the end of the month.
Yeah, you know what, man? I think you got to put your trust in Cash. I feel like the man's been there for 20 years. The deals that he's made over his tenure there have been amazing. He's brought over great guys, and he wants to win. I think he was fortunate enough to win a World Series with Joe Torre at the helm. He was fortunate enough to win a World Series with Joe Girardi at the helm. And now he wants to win a World Series with Aaron Boone at the helm. So that would be pretty impressive, man, for a general manager to win a championship with three separate managers. That would be pretty cool to see.
Nick, I know you're close to Cash, and you work with him, special assistant. Do you have any insight on what might happen at the trading deadline? Because I think most people feel like the Yankees will do something, go out and get some help in the pitching department.
Yeah, I think time's just going to tell. I think we have till the end of the month to see what's going to happen. But, you know, Cash always defines trades as like a dance. You almost have to find your partner to dance with because it really has to work on both sides. No one's in this business to try and one-up anybody else. But I think if we can do something to add to either our offense or our pitching staff, then he's definitely going to do that, man. He's a guy that wants to win, and he knows he has the team to do that. So if he feels like he can add that important piece, he's going to do that.
Nick Swisher with us here on Big Board Sports, 104.5, the team, ESPN Radio, of course, Fox Sports analyst, but also former Yankee, played 12 years in the bigs, 4 with Oakland, 4 with New York. But, Nick, I like to remember the 46 games you played with my Atlanta Braves, so thank you for that, man.
Yeah, man, you know what? That was everything at the end. It was so cool to be over there. It was funny because I showed up in Cleveland right when we were, you know, everybody was kind of making the turnaround, and now all of a sudden the Cleveland Indians are contending for a World Series every year. And then all of a sudden I go to Atlanta, I go for 46 games, I leave, and all of a sudden the team gets better.
Hey, you know what? End of the day, they still paid you, man. That's what matters most. How about the Red Sox team that obviously the Yankees have to contend with in this division? And I know a lot of people are going to cry a little bit over 2 100-plus win teams, and one of them has to play in a one-game wild card playoff. But do you see this division going down to the wire? The Yanks are on the cusp here of getting healthy with Sanchez and Torres.
Yeah, I feel like we're talking about the two beasts of the East. I mean, I think at this point in time, it's pretty much a two-horse race. You know, it's crazy how seasons kind of play themselves out. Now kind of being on the media side of things, also on the front office side of things, you kind of look at the game a little differently. This year, it seems like the American League is kind of already set. Everybody in the American League is already, you know, playoff ready. I mean, you got the Boston Red Sox, you got the New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians are going to win the Central. I think the Houston Astros are going to win the West, and then you've got one more team that can kind of eke in there. I think the National League is wide open. But this is just one of those years, man. I feel like there's so much talent around the league. And we're going to have to see how it's going to wind down because everybody wants to get there. It just depends on who's going to be able to make that happen.
You're out in California. Does Machado make the Dodgers the favorite in the NL?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think he's such a good player. I know he's got the swag. He's kind of got that Camp Callaway haircut going on right now. You know, he's one of those guys that instantly makes your team a contender. I think on the offensive side of things, the Dodgers have dealt with some injuries, obviously losing Seager. You know, Justin Turner's down a little bit right now. But I think for them, man, pitching is going to be crucial. I mean, obviously, if you want to win, you got to have the arms. And, you know, they've got Kershaw. Ross Stripling had his first All-Star year. Walker Buehler's pretty good. The thing about it is with the Los Angeles Dodgers is they still have Jose Urias down there in the minor leagues. We haven't heard from him in a while. But that kid right there has some stuff. We've seen him do it. So a guy like that could be like getting a frontline starter coming up towards the end of the season. So I think for me, in my opinion, and I'm a horrible prognosticator, but I think if it was up to me, I would put the top two teams in the National League, in my opinion, being the Chicago Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Nick, could you make a case for Cash putting something crazy together prospect-wise and sending it over to the Mets, who have this pitcher named Jacob deGrom that could end up on the Yankees? Do you see that scenario at all?
How good is he?
Nasty.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah, I think it like you said, it's got to work for both teams, and I think that's the New York Mets are in a crazy spot right now because they have some guys that have a lot of value, and just like Cash did with guys like Andrew Miller and Aroldis Chapman, he got rid of those guys, and what he did was he stocked his farm system. And in my opinion, if obviously I'm not in the front office over there at the New York Mets, but at this point in time, man, I feel like I have guys that I can give away, that I can restock my team. In my opinion, I think it helps both squads. It helps the New York Yankees because, you know, they need a little help on the pitching side of things, and it gives you that frontline starter. And then also on the New York Mets, man, this year started off amazing, and everybody was thinking, wow, the Mets are right back to where they need to be. And then all of a sudden the injuries started taking in. Syndergaard gets hurt. They ship Harvey off. Right now, at this point in time, Syndergaard's back. He has to show everybody he's healthy. deGrom, I'm telling you, man, you can get yourself 3 or 4 prospects for that guy. What about Asdrubal Cabrera? He's got some worth right now. So if I was the New York Mets, I would do exactly that. I would get rid of all my guys. I would restock my system and play for the future. The one thing that I think is it's always like the New York Mets don't want to just hand the New York Yankees the World Series, but if you want to play for the future, I think that would be the best interest of the Mets.
Yeah, but if you give him Frazier and you give him Sheffield and you give him Andujar,
yeah,
you know,
you would definitely have to give up some boys to get him. No doubt about it.
No doubt. Hey, right before you came on, we had a discussion based on Commissioner Rob Manfred. Do you think the DH will end up in the National League, and would you be approve of that?
Oh, come on, guys. I'm an American League guy. I dig the long ball, man. I want hitters all over the place. I think it would be a lot of fun. I think, obviously, the commissioner, he loves offense. I think the home runs are up. Strikeouts are up. It just kind of seems like everything's up right now. I don't know. I think nowadays our kids, everything is so specialized. You know, like these kids at such a young age are able to do these amazing things, but they're only able to do a couple things. So I don't know, man. I kind of like the all-around game. I'm an American League guy, man. I love having that power guy in the middle of the lineup. Definitely provides a lot more excitement. I don't know, man. I think we have the greatest game in the world, and obviously the world is evolving, and we have to evolve as well. But I don't know. I think it just goes down to personal preference, man. If you like the strategy of the game, then you're a National League guy. But if you just like the raw power and skill of our hitters over there, man, then you like the American League. That's why we've won 6 All-Star games in a row.
Quit rubbing it in, man. I'm a National League guy. All right, enough.
I can't help it, man. I love the excitement. It gives somebody an opportunity to really impact the game on the offensive side, man. So, I don't know, man. I love the DH. I think it'll give 15 extra jobs to some other hitters, man, which I think would be great because nowadays, man, these pitchers, man, they're so good. These guys, I mean, you saw the All-Star game. There wasn't one guy that came into that game that was throwing under 98 miles an hour.
To your point of the Chicks digging the long ball, 29 home runs, back-to-back seasons for the Yanks in 09 and 10, throw in the World Series championship, oh, by the way, in 2009 for Nick Swisher as well. But, Nick, I want to ask you about a game in 2009 in which you didn't hit a home run, but you pitched, and you actually struck out a Major League Baseball manager now in Gabe Kapler. Do you remember that game against the Rays?
Oh, hey, I got to mistake you. I actually did go deep early.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, off Scott Kazmir to start the game off. I remember that because we were losing 15-5, right? And I started the season out on the bench that year because Xavier Nady, who's my guy, who was a stud, he ended up getting injured, and that's how I kind of got my start. But I remember we were in Tampa. It was 15-5. We were getting romped. And Girardi was just freaking out, man. We haven't even played a game at home yet. And all of a sudden he turns, and I'm standing right there. He just looks me square in the eyes, and he says, "Have you ever pitched?" And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. If I got this, baby, I got this. And so next thing you know, man, I go out there, I pitch. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And then I remember at the end of the game, I had ice on my shoulder like I was like a seasoned vet, 14 years, doing my interviews with ice on my shoulder. And then I turned and looked at Jorge Posada standing 2 lockers down, just staring holes through me. Like, this is not fun. Losing games is not fun, right? I couldn't help it because I was like, oh my gosh, number one, I can't even believe I'm playing for the New York Yankees. Number two, it's like the first 4 games of the season and I'm pitching already. This is unbelievable. So it's something that I'll never forget, man. I still have that baseball, and I text Gabe every now and then, man, because he's having so much success up there in Philadelphia. I could not be more proud of him, but I got to bring him back down every now and then.
There you go.
Nick, how do you see Red Sox Yankees playing out rest of summer? Second half of the season begins tomorrow.
Well, I tell you what's crazy is I think both teams are going to get better. I think both teams can play better. I think on the Boston Red Sox side of things, if David Price gets himself back to where he should be, that's pretty tough back-to-back 1 and 2 with Chris Sale and David Price. I also feel like they got a little hole over there at second base. And in my opinion, they might fill that, they might not. But then again, you got guys like Mookie Betts and J.D. Martinez in the middle of that lineup just absolutely dominating. It's a lot of fun to watch, even though I am a Yankee fan. And then on the Yankee side of things, man, I feel pretty good. I mean, I got to see all the guys for the All-Star game, which is great. They're really excited for the second half. I got the chance to talk to Torres, and he says he's getting ready to go back on his rehab assignment. Sanchez is coming back. So both teams have really kind of dealt with a little bit of injuries. But I think on the pitching side of things, if the Yankees can get themselves that starting pitching a little better. Tanaka's back. He's healthy again. I tell you who's been great has been CeCe Sabathia.
Yep.
He has been amazing. I don't think anybody expected him to be having the year he is. But he's a vet, man. He knows how to pitch, and he's a horse. He wants the ball every time. He wants to go out there. So I think just in general, man, the bullpen's back to where it needs to be. Those guys are plumbed up. I think it's going to be fun, man. It's so hard to say right now. I mean, what is it, 4.5 games right now?
Yeah.
2 best teams in baseball. 1 and 2 in so many stats, it's unbelievable. So it's definitely going to shake down to those guys. I just feel bad that one of the teams with 100-plus wins is going to have to play in a 1-game playoff, maybe against the Seattle Mariners, and have to go up against a guy like James Paxton. That just doesn't sound like fun to me.
No,
so winning the division is crucial, absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't like that format, but it is what it is, and you're right. One of these 2 teams is going to have to face just that. Hey, I know we're here talking baseball, but I got to tell you, you brought so many smiles to faces when you were here for the Center for Disability Services in Albany recently, that you have everybody still talking about how great you were with everybody on that day, and it looked like you were really enjoying yourself, Nick.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because nobody's smile was bigger than mine, man. I feel like, they say that's a place where you go to get better at life. And in all facets, that's what happened. It just seems like when you go and you experience things like that, it makes you appreciate what you have. It gives you a little more perspective on life. And for myself, I've been so blessed and been helped by so many people to get to where I am. It was so great to see the love that was in that building. And not only that, to be able to have a building where you can send your child at an early age somewhere where they're going to be taken care of. They're going to be loved. They're going to be giving every ounce of effort from everybody over there, man. I couldn't believe it. I walked in, and I just remember seeing it. They made all these signs and cards for me. I mean, it blew my mind. It was one of my favorite places I've ever been, and I've had the opportunity to go to some great facilities, but that facility right there is definitely at the top of my list because everything that goes down over there, I could not be more happy to be part of all that.
Well, and it was greatly appreciated, and it's so nice that guys like you and pro athletes, really in general, try their best to give back, and that's one of the ways that you do it.
Of course.
Nick, keep up the great work, man. We enjoy you and appreciate everything. We'll reach back out maybe as we get a little bit closer to the end of the summer and see who's in first place in the American League East.
Thanks for the time, Nick.
Sounds like a plan, fellas. I appreciate y'all having me on, man. Have a great day, man.
You too. Thank you, Nick. Nick Swisher, as I will say, as good as advertised.